Chapter 1 of The Exploits of Juve. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Alan Winterrowd. The Exploits of Juve by Marcel Allain and Pierre Souvestre. Chapter 1. The Comrades' Tryst. "A bowl of claret, Father Korn?" The raucous voice of big Ernestine rose above the hubbub in the smoke-begrimed tavern. "Some claret, and let it be good," repeated the drab, a big fair damsel with puckered eyes and features worn by dissipation. Father Korn had heard the first time, but he was in no hurry to comply with the order. He was a bald, whiskered giant, and at the moment was busily engaged in swilling dirty glasses in a sink filled with tepid water. This tavern, the Comrades' Tryst, had 2 rooms, each with its separate exit. Madame Korn presided over the first, in which food and drink were served. By passing through the door at the far end, and crossing the inner courtyard of the large 7-story building, the second den was reached, a low and ill-lit room facing the Rue de la Charbonnière, a street famed in the district for its bad reputation. At a third summons, Father Korn, who had sized up the girl and the crowd she was with, growled, "It'll be 2 moons. Hand over the stuff first." Big Ernestine rose, and pushing her way to him began a long argument. When she stopped to draw a breath, Korn interposed, "It's no use trying that game. I said 2 francs, and 2 francs it is." "All right, I won't even argue with a brute like you," replied the girl. "Everyone knows you and Mother Korn are Germans, dirty Prussians." The innkeeper smiled quietly and went on washing his glasses. Big Ernestine glanced around the room. She knew the crowd and quickly decided that the cash would not be forthcoming. For a moment she thought of tackling old Mother Toulouche, ensconced in the doorway with her display of Portugals and snails, but Dame Toulouche, snuggled in her old shawl, was fast asleep. Suddenly from a corner of the tavern a weary voice cried with authority, "Go ahead, Korn, I'll stand treat." It was the sapper who had spoken. A man of 50 who owed his nickname to the current report that he had spent 20 years in Africa both as a soldier and a convict. While Ernestine and her friends hastened to his table, the sapper's companion, a heavily built man, rose carelessly and slouched off to join another group, muttering, "I'm too near the window here." "It's Nonet," explained the sapper to Ernestine. "He's home from New Caledonia, and he doesn't care to show himself much just now." The girl nodded, and pointing to one of her companions, became confidential. "Look at poor Mimia here. He's just out of quod, and has to start right off to do his service. Pretty tough." The sapper became interested in the conversation. Meanwhile, Nonet, as he crossed the tap room, had stopped a few moments before a pretty girl who was evidently expecting someone. "Waiting again for the square, eh, Josephine?" Nonet inquired. The girl, whose big blue eyes contrasted strikingly with her jet-black hair, replied, "Why not? Loupart doesn't think of quitting me that I know of." "Well, when he does, let me know," Nonet suggested smilingly. Josephine shrugged her shoulders contemptuously, and glancing at the clock above the bar, rose suddenly and left the tap-room. She went rapidly down the Rue Charbonnière and along the boulevard, in the direction of the Barbès Metropolitan Station. On reaching the level of the Boulevard Magenta, she slackened and walked along the right-hand pavement toward the centre of Paris. "My little Jojo," the girl who, after leaving the tavern, had assumed a quiet and modest air, now came face to face with a stout gentleman with a jovial face and one gleaming eye, the other eye being permanently closed. He wore a beard turning grey, and his derby hat and light cane placed him as belonging to the middle class. "How late you are, my adored Jojo," he murmured tenderly. "That accursed workshop been keeping you again after hours?" The mistress of Loupart checked a smile. "That's it," she replied. "The workshop, Monsieur Martin." The man addressed made a warning gesture. "Don't mention my name here. I'm almost home." He pulled out his watch. "Too bad. I'll have to go in, or my wife will kick up a row."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?